Hello, welcome to the section entitled Loading Data. We're going to only cover loading data into cloud storage in this section. That's because principally many of the other tools use cloud storage as sort of a waypoint for their upload. So, yeah. So one of the tools that we have not seen is GSUtil, which is included when you install G-Cloud. Essentially, you get GSUtil, and it's a tool for dealing with data in Google Cloud Storage. So I think we'll just do a couple quick tests of it. First thing you do is you can do, see here, I have it on the screen here, GSUtil ls. It's a look at whatever project your G-Cloud is configured to. This will list the buckets that are in that project. And you can, of course, change the project using a parameter. But in this case, I'm going to stay with my project. And I'm going to make a bucket real quick. So that's the MB command. And if I do ls again, I can see the buckets there. And if I list the bucket, so if I do GSUtil ls, the bucket itself, it should be empty because I just created it. Okay. So let's talk about uploading. So there are three principal kind of mechanisms to upload images, or like APIs for uploading images. In total, just regardless of how you upload things, there is a limit of 5 terabytes per object. So that's quite large. So the first mechanism is called single request upload. It's basically going to just on one request upload the file. If it fails, it fails, and the file is done. Another mechanism is called resumable upload, where basically it provides for a more reliable upload. So basically it starts splitting files into pieces as it goes and uploads in chunks. And then if it fails, you can resume from that point forward. So that's why it's called resumable upload. And those are the two that we're going to interact with. Well, turns out when we use GSUtil, under the hood, it's already going to be using the resumable. It doesn't even bother with a single request. So for all practical purposes, we're always using, if you're using GSUtil, you're always using resumable uploads. So let's copy a file up and just see what that looks like. So if I just run, I have a file on my desktop, the kitten image, and if I run it, uploads the file. And again, if it midway through the network had a problem, it would have resumed. And if I just ls, I can see the image there, right? If I want to remove something here, I just type in rm, then the name of the file, kitten png, and then there's no files there anymore. Okay. There is another mechanism in addition to the single and the resumable. There's an XML API multipart upload. This one you actually have to use the APIs directly with posting from code. This is meant to be compatible with Amazon's multi-part upload feature. And this essentially allows you to break files into pieces and send them up and then have them reassembled when they get there. This is for performance for upload. So this is, and that's something that GSUtil will use. There is another way of dealing with that with GSUtil, which we'll see in a second. So again, there's 3 mechanisms, right? There's single uploads, single request uploads, resumable uploads, and then there's this version that's compatible, XML multi-part upload that's compatible with Amazon. Now, using those 3 techniques, there are ways to different strategies for dealing with different patterns. So one is you can actually stream data. So in the examples we did here, we had an assembled file and then we sent it up there. You could actually, if you had some process that was generating a file on the fly and you want to immediately start uploading it in parts as it goes, you can do a streaming upload. Now, this is kind of a somewhat artificial example here, but we'll do it anyway. So what I do is I'm just have a process. Now this process is very quick, right? Echo hello world. And I'm just piping it to gsutil, copying, this stands for standard input, and I'm dumping it to a hello text file. So this is going to basically, it's very quick. But in theory, if this process was very slow and generating, lots of data, you can stream it as it goes into the bucket, and then rather than waiting for the file to be completed before you start uploading. And then, of course, then I can see the files there. Now, since we're talking about it, we can also do streaming downloads. So, for example, if I had a very large text file, I could actually start copying it down and piping it to Les, and then Les would start to show the top of it, and then the streaming would happen in the background. So that's kind of the opposite of streaming upload to streaming download. Okay. Okay, so there is another concept, which is not another API, but there's a strategy using our upload techniques to break apart a file into parallel little pieces, and then upload them all into a temporary folder, essentially in the bucket, and then use an operation called it will basically composite the object together into one single object in the bucket. So this is not so much another upload tech API. It's just a way of using the existing APIs to essentially break a file into pieces, send them up to Google, and then tell Google to assemble them up there. Now, under the hood, the way you can do this, well, we'll just look at two examples here. This is a regular copy here. So we'll just do a regular copy. I have a larger file that's on my desktop. It's like 30 megs of a video. And here it's copying the file. This is going to be using the resumable strategy, right? So it's going to upload it as it goes and have checkpoints. And then it takes about maybe 30 seconds or so. Let this play out. Okay, so it's done, right? Now, instead, there is a way of using gsutil. You basically pass it a parameter. And in this case, I say gsutil parallel composite upload threshold 1 megabyte. So this basically, by default, gsutil does not use this parallel composite upload. But here I can tell it, hey, if you're over 1 meg, use this strategy. And I'm going to copy the same file up. So I should probably get rid of the file up there. gsutil, remove gs, j tucker, video. Let's see. Okay, so now I can paste this up. And then, okay, now this does recognize that I'm doing it. It's giving me these warnings. If I'm on Mac OS, I may have problems. Now, if you watch this, it's going to take about 30 seconds too. So it's not going to take much, it's not going to be much faster than what I did a minute ago. And in this case, the problem is my upload speed of my internet provider is sufficient, is the bottleneck. And so splitting it into pieces is not going to speed it up, because the bottleneck is not Google consuming the file, but it's actually me being able to send it fast enough. So this did the same thing, upload the file, right? So the file's there in one piece. Let's see if I can, I lost that folder. Right, the file's there, but it was, attempted to break it apart, send it in 32 pieces, and then assemble them back. But again, that didn't really speed things up for me because my upload speed was my constraint. Okay, that's enough for uploads. Downloads, basically, there really is only one concept of downloading. You can also specify a range, so like a checkpoint, so you can like download from a point on. So this basically allows you to, if you have an interrupted download, you can then resume downloading from that point, right? Basically, under the hood, GSUtil automatically. Oh, there's another concept called slice downloads, where it can actually break the download into multiple pieces, and then download and assemble them on your machine. Under the hood, GSUtil just uses that feature automatically. So it's not like something you really need to control. So if I just say copy the video file of my machine, it, oh, yeah. So one interesting thing here is, actually is a good side note. So when I uploaded that video a minute ago, I used the sliced upload. And what that does is, one of the things about sliced upload, it can't support the full-blown mechanism for doing checking for validity, which is like MD5. So instead, it uses a CRC check process. And then that's what this is complaining about. Let me see. I'm curious to see what it says. Downloading. Oh. Okay. So basically, it's saying this file was recognized. It got uploaded in slices, so it doesn't have the regular check. I think it's an MD5, right? But it has a CRC check, and then it says my machine doesn't have the basically performance for downloading like quickly with this CRC check files. So that's all that's about. And again, if I just to complete this thought, the reason why this came about was because, let me see if I can remove that file. What I'll do is I'll remove the file, and I'm going to upload that same file, but this time, where's my copy? There it is. I'm going to do a regular copy, not the sliced copy. And this will actually have a valid check on it. And so when I download it, it won't complain about that CRC business. Let's play out. It's almost done. Come on. But it's funny, that didn't download that file right. I'm gonna have to look into that a little bit more. But if I actually download the file, copy, no, I want to copy. So this will copy it down properly. Now I can see the files there. So I'm gonna have to like explore that separately. But it looks like when I did the sliced upload and then I tried to download it, it had a problem. So again, that has to do with, I don't have the documentation here in front of me. Well, I guess I do. This is the sidebar is if you go into this and you go to the section on parallel composite uploads, right? They'll talk about basically, so it doesn't use the MD5 hash, it uses the CRC hash. And maybe because my machine didn't have that on my machine, I couldn't properly download it. So I'm going to explore separately how I can actually download that file properly if it was uploaded that way. Okay, that's it for the video for today.